on Dr. Phil. She claims her husband kidnapped her kids.
He had no right to keep them from me.
She hasn't seen them in 46 years.
2 of her long-lost children are here.
But this reunion...
She remembers you beating her.
I have never touched her.
...brings painful memories.
Remember poking him with safety pins?
Never.
Pushing me in the bathtub and cracking my head open?
Whoever told you that was a liar.
I remember it. How could it be a lie?
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
In 5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Today, we are getting to the bottom of a decades-old family mystery. Now, this is Dottie, her husband, Bill, and her 3 children, Tommy, Teresa, and Tim. Now, they seem like a loving family, right? But 45 years ago, Dottie disappeared. The children always wondered what happened to their mom, obviously, right? Did she abandon them? Did she die? What happened to them? Well, it turns out that Dottie really didn't disappear at all. She still exists. In fact, she says her ex-husband kidnapped her children, and she has spent her entire life searching for them. Now, she recently enlisted the help of my good friend, Troy Dunn, also known as the Locator, to help find her missing children. What Dottie doesn't know, and I'm going to let you guys in on, is that Troy has found all 3 kids. All right? Now, 2 of them are here today. Teresa is here, and her younger brother, Timmy, is here. But Teresa's memories of Mom, well, they're just not what you might think.
My life with my mother was horrible. My mother was a very angry woman. She never smiled. She was mean. She abused me and my 2 brothers.
So, if that's true, what kind of reunion is this going to be? Well, Dottie is still in her dressing room. She hasn't been listening or watching. She has no idea that her children have been found. She has no idea that her children are here. But before we meet anyone in this story, I want to hear Dottie's version of this decades-old mystery. Take a look.
Bill and I had 3 children. My children were my life. I loved them. The abuse started 6 months into the marriage. If I didn't have supper on the table at 6 p.m., I got knocked around. He kicked me in my stomach when I was 6 months pregnant. He broke my elbow, he broke my wrist and my thumb. One time I was ironing his shirt and he yanked the iron out of the wall and threw it at me, split my head open. Another time he tried to kill me with a gun. He took out a service revolver and shot me. I have the scar on my arm right here. I had to get out of the situation. When I filed for divorce, I agreed to joint custody. The last day I saw my kids was Thanksgiving of 69. Bill was supposed to pick him up at 2 o'clock. He never returned them. I never saw my kids again. As the days went by, I came to the conclusion that he's left the state. My kids were my life. There isn't a day or a night that goes by that I don't think and wish I knew. And I just hope that somewhere out there, somebody knows.
Now, when we tracked down Tim and Teresa, 2 of Dottie's children, they had a very different recollection of their childhood. Take a look.
My life with my mother was horrible. She abused me. She abused my brothers in several different ways. My mother fed me bourbon balls and pushed me into the bathtub and cracked my head open. My father had to take me to the emergency room to have stitches put in.
I don't remember my mom ever abusing us. I remember what I was told.
She used to poke safety pins through my little brother's skin. He's got scars from changing his diaper. My older brother, she nearly drowned him in the bathroom sink. She strapped him on his potty chair and locked him in a closet.
She was kind of portrayed to me as crazy, abusive. I was told that she had gone crazy and was in an asylum.
The last time that I saw my mother, I was 5 or 6 years old. I remember when I was 5, an officer asking me who I wanted to live with, my father or my mother, and I told them my father because my mother was mean to me.
I was 3 when my parents got divorced, so I think my dad did everything in his power to keep the 3 kids with him.
There was something that he must not have liked about her, and he moved us out of the situation.
Years later, when I went back to visit my grandmother, I said, whatever happened to my mom? And she was like, didn't you know that your daddy kidnapped you from your mother? Your mom was crazy, and she didn't care about you. You're with your dad now, and your dad loves you and is going to take care of you.
My dad was a good dad. I loved him very much.
My mom was always portrayed to me as a villain. So she's always been a villain in my mind.
Okay, it's good to meet y'all. I mean, this is obviously a very important day. You know that we have found your mother. What she doesn't know that we found you. She doesn't know that you're here. She's not listening to this right now. She's not seeing this right now. We have her sequestered, and she's going to come out soon, and I'm going to talk to her. You do have recollections about your mother, correct?
Yes.
And they are not warm and fuzzy.
No, she abused me. She abused my 2 brothers.
And when you say she abused you, what did she do that you recall?
She pushed me in the bathtub. I cracked my head open. My dad took me to the emergency room to get stitches.
Could it have been an accident?
I don't think so.
You remember it as being a violent
She was mean.
sort of thing.
She was a very mean woman. She never smiled, never laughed.
You said that your brother had scars.
He has scars on his
and
side from
and
the
you
safety pins.
remember that.
I used to push her out of the way to change his pants. I'm only 2 years older than he is. Because I didn't want to hear him scream every time she'd change his diaper.
And you don't
push him with
remember
the
this,
pin.
but you do have the scars.
Correct.
How do y'all feel about being here today?
I don't hold a grudge against her. She is my mother. I gotta let go of what has happened and learn to like her, possibly love her.
Even though you recall her being mean and vicious to you and your 2 brothers.
I can't get to the top if I don't let go.
Look, I want to talk to Dottie alone. I want to get her side of the story. Again, she has no idea at this point that 2 of her long-lost children are even here. And so I'm going to ask Teresa and Tim to wait backstage where they will be allowed to listen to what Dottie has to say. I'm not going to let you see her.
Okay.
Because I want you to do that for the first time here. But I do want you to have opportunity to listen to her and see what story she tells so you can respond to it when you come out, and then we're going to all get together and try to get to the bottom of this, okay?
Sounds good.
Are you ready to do that?
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, good deal. So in a few minutes, as I said, Troy Dunn is here, and he's going to bring Dottie out right after the break.
He was supposed to return the children to my parents' home by 7:30 Thanksgiving evening.
And you've never seen him again?
I haven't seen him since.
For 45 years, Dottie has been searching for her 3 children who she says were kidnapped by her abusive ex-husband, Bill. Now, she says he abused her, not them. She says she has tried everything to find her missing children, but just simply didn't have any luck. Now, Dottie recently enlisted the help of Troy Dunn. Now, you guys may know Troy as the locator. and she wanted to see if he could find some answers. Take a look.
Have you ever wondered if they have ever looked for you, and if not, why not?
I have no idea. Unless they were told that I was dead when they were young.
It's very possible that they may not know the same version of what happened. I would say there's a handful of people who would know, which would be everyone who was related to your ex-husband. So for an entire family to collectively make a decision to hide children from their mother is an unusual scenario.
It took a lot of work, I'm sure.
So your belief is that your ex-husband Bill took to his grave the location of your children?
Yes, I do.
In all of the 45 years, has there been a time where you stopped looking for your children?
Never. They're mine. I was supposed to protect them, and I lost them.
Do you really want a relationship with these children?
I want them in my life if they want to be in my life.
Well, 45 years is a very, very long time. It'll be one of the oldest cases that I've worked on.
Okay, well, I'm here with Dottie and Troy. 45 years, that's a big gap to try to fill in, right?
That is an almost impossible gap. I mean, when you talk about a search that's 45 years old, you're talking about something that predates all technology that we have today.
Exactly.
It predates the memories of almost anyone that would have ever been involved.
So let me find out what happened, because I think this is very important if this is going to come to any kind of fruition. We're talking 1969.
Yes.
And it's Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
And you've never seen him again?
I haven't seen him since.
You think it's just a routine drop-off
It was just
to their father?
supposed to be his first legal holiday visitation.
So this was the first time?
The first time.
And when did you realize they weren't coming back? What happened?
Well, I had to go to work. For many, many years, I've been a nurse. He was supposed to return the children to my parents' home by 7:30 Thanksgiving evening.
Did you call the police?
I called the police. I went to the grandparents' residence, and I went up to the door with the police officer, and she said that they weren't there, they hadn't been there, she didn't know where they were, and quit bothering her. I had to wait till Monday to call my attorney because he was off on the weekend.
Well, wait a minute. This is Thursday, because it's
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving Day.
And so Thursday to Friday, Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday, these like long weekend here, 4 days.
Right.
You don't do anything?
The police contacted both my attorneys. My attorney called me and said that there wasn't anything he could do till Monday. He couldn't even get a hold of my ex's attorney. And so there wasn't anything we could do. And
What about
those
the police, though?
The police couldn't do anything either. They could not step in because it was a domestic thing, and they didn't get involved in those days.
Okay, but did you file a missing persons report?
I did, and they said that it wouldn't do any good till after 72 hours.
So you're just in a vacuum.
That's right.
Did you drive around and look? Did you go back over to the house?
I went back to his parents' house. I went and knocked on the door, and they said if I didn't leave them alone, they would call the police. I told them, go ahead. I wasn't hiding. I had never hidden.
Because I'm just, this was 1969.
That's right.
And I remember 1969. I was 19 at the time.
We're the same age back then because I was 19 at the time also. Or, well, I was like 23, I guess. I was 19 when I got married. So, you're not a young man, I know. But you don't look old.
Well, I think your math is way to hell off. He shot you with a gun?
Yes, he did.
Why did he do that?
He was angry because I was putting the wrong clothes out that he was supposed to wear that night to work.
You do everything, but you can't find them. So, Troy, It just doesn't smell right to me. She knows where the parents are. The police are there. How can...
You know, I came into this with the same unusual feeling that you're having, too. But I come into most of these searches trying to be... I'm a big believer that there's three sides to every story, his, hers, and the truth. And so I'm always looking for that third version. But honestly, everything that she tells about that era is accurate. The way that the police handled the situation, the fact that it was a holiday weekend in a small town where things shut down. I think, and I told her this when we met, I would have had a tent and a chair and a cold beverage set up on the front yard of the house and said, well, I'm not freaking leaving here until somebody tells me where my kids are. She took a different approach, which is she came back to the house a few times. But in 1969, a 19-year-old girl, I think she used all the resources she knew to use. She went to the house, she went to the police, she went to her attorney.
She was 29, by the way, but go ahead.
I was not.
Go ahead.
He said I was old enough to know better, but too young to care is what
There
he
you
said.
go. Well, he gave away your secret, I didn't. I just want to make sure you were clear. I actually believe that Dottie did everything she could do at that, short of kicking in the door. I think she did all she knew to do at that point in her life.
45 years have passed here. It just, have you continued to look?
I was just going to say, it doesn't mean I stopped looking.
Yeah. You did keep looking?
Always.
I mean, was this a...
Every
everyday thing and every week thing and every month thing?
Every single day that I could take off work,
Did you find him?
Nope.
Did he change his name?
I have no idea.
How long were y'all married?
9.5 years.
Okay, so you knew his Social Security number, you had records?
I have no idea what his Social Security number was because he kept it hidden, and every time he'd change clothes, he'd make sure that all his personal stuff was in another area so I didn't see it.
Yeah. He shot you with a gun?
Yes, he did. If I mess up my jacket, they'll get mad.
Well, no, you do. You do have a scar there.
Yeah, there's a scar on my
something
arm. Yes.
happened to your arm there, no doubt about it. Why did he do that?
Because he was angry because I was putting the wrong clothes out that he was supposed to wear that night to work.
Are you ever going to give up till you find these kids?
Never.
Why is it so important to you?
They're
after all
mine.
these?
He had the right to take them. And keep them from me. I feel that I let them down because I didn't protect them from their father.
And you're going to want them, if you ever find them, you're going to want them to know.
That's right.
That you looked.
That's right. And I never abandoned them. I've always loved them. I'll always love them. They're mine. God gave them to me.
Do you think he gave them a good life?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no clue. If he treated me the way he treated me, which he did, I'm not lying about that. I couldn't lie about that. How do I know how he treated his own children?
All right, well, let's take a break. Coming up, Troy has some information for Dottie about her kids, but it just may not be what she thinks. We're going to find out more when we come back. And he has found out information about your children. Are you ready to hear what he's found out, good, bad, or indifferent?
I don't care what it is. My second husband was an angel from God. He was real supportive of me because I miss being a mom. I wanted to be a mom to somebody. I applied and was accepted as a foster parent. I have not stopped looking for my children. I'll continue looking for my children. My life is hollow without my children. Not only incomplete, it's totally hollow. I know that I have surrogate grandchildren and children. And they're smart kids and they're bright kids and they love me and I love them. But nobody can ever replace what came from your body.
45 years ago, Dottie says her 3 children were kidnapped by her ex-husband, Bill. Dottie says that she has spent over 4 decades searching for her missing children, but had no luck. So she reached out to my good friend Troy Dunn, otherwise known as the Locator, and he has found out information about your children. Are you ready to hear
Yes.
what he's found out, good, bad, or indifferent?
I don't care what it is.
First off, were you able to identify the existence of these 3 children?
Yes, we were able to confirm that there were 3 people with those names.
And are they alive?
Teresa is alive. Tommy is alive. And Timmy is alive.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I knew they weren't dead. I just knew it.
Well, he not only found out they're alive, he found out where they were, and of course the question then becomes, do they want to meet you?
Did they want to meet me?
Teresa and Timmy have said under the right circumstances they would be willing to meet you, and they consider this place, this moment, this time to be the right circumstance, and they are here.
Really?
They
My
are
babies
here.
are here.
Would you like to meet them
Yes,
now?
please. Yes,
Right.
please.
Teresa, Timmy, come on out.
Oh, my goodness. Timmy. Oh, my goodness. I never stopped looking for you, baby girl. Never. I never even find you. I had no idea where you were, what you looked like, who you were living with. I thought maybe he even adopted you out. You're gorgeous. You look just like me.
Sound just like you too.
Sound like me too?
I sound like you. Your voice is just like mine.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, we even got the same glasses on.
And the same color eyes.
I know. Oh my goodness, my baby girl.
I will say before we talk to these folks that your oldest does want to meet you, but he was a little overwhelmed by this environment and doesn't want to do it here, but is willing to talk with you. Correct, Troy?
Yep, that is exactly right.
I want to ask 3 questions.
Okay.
Are you married?
Yes. Well, I'm divorced now.
Been there, done
2
that.
kids.
You got 2 kids, boys or girls?
1 boy, 1 girl.
How old?
My son's 20, my daughter's 18.
Wow, I'm a grandma, a real legal grandma.
Yeah.
And you
They want to meet you.
Oh, wonderful. I want to meet them too.
No kids.
No kids.
No, I'm gay.
Are you really?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break right quick. Teresa and Tim, and listen, as I say, we deal with reality here, and Teresa and Tim say that their memories of their childhood don't even almost match up with their mother's memory of their childhood. We'll talk about that when we come back.
That's bad.
I did think she was dead because nobody has heard from her. Of course, I haven't contacted her either or tried to look for her or locate her or anything. I do wonder why now. Why, after all these years, does she want to make contact with me? I'm 50 years old. I have not seen or talked to the woman in 45 years. That's a long time to go without talking to somebody. I am full of questions.
Well, after 45 years of desperately searching for her missing children, Troy Dunn did the impossible. He closed the 45-year gap, and the family just reunited moments ago. Now, here's the deal. These two have a version of history that is very different from Mom. She says that you were flat out abusive of her and her brothers. What do you want to say?
You don't remember feeding me bourbon balls and pushing me in the bathtub and cracking my head open?
Never. I never did that to you. Whoever told you that was a liar.
How could it be a lie? I remember it very well.
It wasn't by me.
It was by you.
No, it wasn't, baby. I swear to God, it was not by... I never touched you.
You don't remember strapping Tommy to his potty chair and locking him in the closet?
Never. I never locked anybody in the closet. I got locked in the closet. Your father shot me with a gun in the closet.
Remember poking him with safety pins?
I never poked anybody with
safety pins. When he changed his pants?
No, never. Ever. I didn't ever physically abuse any of my children. Ever.
You didn't fight for us, though.
I did fight for you.
I don't know. I don't know. I've personally never been a parent, but I would have never, ever given up looking for my kids. Ever.
I didn't.
Even if it was knocking down a door.
I did not give you away. You were taken away from me by your father. I never gave you away. I never stopped fighting for you. I've never stopped looking for you. I looked in 3 different counties and 5 different states.
He found me.
He's the expert.
Thank you, Donnie.
Well, but here's the... Listen, this is a relevant question. What he's saying is you didn't know where they had been taken.
That's right.
But their names didn't change. They were registered in the school system. You would only have to check 50 different states to find them registered in the school system somewhere. And what he's saying is 45 years is a huge gap that it took Troy's amazing expertise to close, but at the time they were missing, you had the ability to call schools. You had the ability to reproduce those records.
I did call schools, and I was told that their records were private. I could not touch them.
No, you're their mother.
Why didn't they give you
not in the state of California? You are not a parent unless you have physical custody of that child.
That's just simply not true.
I don't believe
that. That is just simply not true.
I swear to God, that is what I was told.
You understand that Teresa believes that you didn't look for her because she believes you didn't want her because she remembers you beating her and injuring her as a child.
I have never touched her physically, ever.
You know, there have been, Dr. Phil, a few pieces of information that have surfaced that kind of, I would imagine, for you two would cause you some concern that maybe what you were told wasn't completely accurate.
Sure.
I mean, I believe, Tim, you told me that you have vivid memories of your mother coming to the house, knocking on the door, and your grandmother telling you children, it's your mom, go hide under the bed.
Correct.
Is that true?
That's correct.
Well, that seems like a mom that was trying in some way to find you. And it seems like somebody trying to hide you, doesn't it? I mean, I don't ever tell my children to hide under the bed.
It does. I mean, I think it was probably something that my dad did to protect us, because in his mind, or what we were told throughout our life was that Dottie, and see, I've always known her as Dorothy, was abusive.
But the point he's making is not whether there was a reason to hide you.
Correct.
The point he's making is it does validate the fact that she was banging on the door looking for you time and time again.
Correct.
And you say, why weren't you looking for us? Even your captors, which we now know were your captors, were telling you, go hide, she's here again.
Correct.
Looking for you. The question is, what do these folks do now? Obviously, there are issues in the air. Are they too big to overcome? We'll be right back. Tim and Teresa just reunited with their mom, Dottie, known to them as Dorothy, after being apart for 45 years. Now, Troy Dunn made this reunion happen. and he's the author of the book Family, the Good F Word, which was recently published, actually, by our publishing company, Bird Street Books. I heard you say you have no doubt that these things did took place, whether she's in denial about them or not. You know them to be true. You think she's not being straight with herself and or you. But your point is, whatever.
It doesn't matter. I forgive her.
You forgive your mother.
Exactly. I'll never make it to the top of heaven if I don't forgive her. That's what I remember in my mind. Whether it happened or not, that's what I remember, but I forgive you. You're my mom.
You know, she actually... she actually held on to some of the toys that you played with at the time.
I don't believe I ever played with these.
You used to carry
a little dolly
in your pockets everywhere.
Do you...
and that
I remember my little dolly.
You do remember this?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
45 years your mother has held on to that doll.
Yep.
That all by itself has to say something to you.
Well, of course.
Jim, are you opening to exploring having some level of relationship with your mother?
Oh, most definitely. Yes.
And Teresa, you say you forgive her, and people can forgive but not forget, and this is something that obviously weighs very heavily on you. Has this satisfied your curiosity? You need to move on, or are you willing to start a dialogue with your mother and see where it goes?
Exactly. I wanna build a relationship with her and see what happens. I would really like my kids to meet her.
And you understand that this has to go a step at a time.
That's right. Baby steps, honey. Baby steps.
I did want to update you on a story that we worked on earlier. 2 years ago, when we met Karen and her husband, Tommy. Karen and Tommy had placed a child for adoption 41 years prior, after Karen became pregnant in high school. Now, Karen was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and so she was desperate to find that son she had placed for adoption before time was up. You two were high school sweethearts.
Yes, we met in our junior year in high school.
You had a baby.
Yes, right after high school. We just weren't ready at the time.
So you placed him for adoption.
So we did place him for adoption.
It's very common that, unfortunately, sometimes people make mistakes when they're young, and then they go off and they go build new lives. But to end up together, married, all these years later, I was very moved by their story.
You feel some sense of urgency in this search, correct?
Yes, sir, I do.
Tell us why.
I've been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
I am so grateful to be able to tell you he's alive and he's here.
Let me introduce your son, Dave. So, what happened after the show? Well, we caught up with both Karen and Tommy. Take a look.
Hi, we're Tom and Karen. Dr. Phil and Troy Dunn found and introduced us to our son that we hadn't seen since birth 42 years ago. And we continue to enjoy and love and cherish the time we have with our son and his family. We have a wonderful 12-year-old grandson.
We've had some grand experiences that we've never had in our lives, such as having Christmas and birthdays and things that have brought tremendous joy into our lives with our new family.
We'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Phil, thank Troy Dunn. It just couldn't be more wonderful.
Better. It gets better and better.
Karen is still battling cancer, but she is defying doctors' expectations. We will wish them all of the best. Now, switching gears. Coming up, an embarrassing body issue affecting millions of women and what you can do to manage it. I've said I'm going to answer y'all's questions when you send them in, so I'm getting ready to answer one of your questions. We'll be right back. It's no secret that as you get older, your body begins to change, right? I wasn't always bald, at least this bald. And for some people, like my next guest, certain body changes can feel embarrassing at times. Take a look.
When I get the urge to go to the restroom, I have no time to wait. It's 0 to 60. I have to locate a restroom immediately. Laughing, coughing, sneezing will all result in a certain amount of leakage. The incontinence will range from a little bit of leakage to a full release of my bladder. In the past year, I've had to throw away between 10 and 12 pair of underwear. My kids know me for my various dances and facial expressions as I feel the urge coming on the dude. It's a kind of traditional John Wayne cowboy walk. I then go to the mermaid. My knees are pinched together, and in the unfortunate event of an accident, I just kind of walk like a zombie until I get to my location to clean up. I feel it's hard for women to talk about this topic because of the stigma. I believe it is taboo. Is this type of incontinence normal? If so, how do I move past the stigma and start living my life again?
Well, Cindy's here along with Dr. Rachel Ross from the medical show, The Doctors. Good to see you again. As well as author and journalist Barbara Hannah Grefferman. So welcome to all three of you. Barbara, what do you say about this?
Well, you know, thank you so much for bringing us all together to talk about this very, very important thing that actually happens to over 40% of women over 40, believe it or not. And it's a sensitive bladder, also known as incontinence, that can also cause a bladder to leak. And that happens very often.
And it can be a result of weight gain, childbirth, some medications that you're taking. Yes. It can be a side effect of another common illness. And so as you get older, there are some things that we can do that can just make this a little more comfortable.
Absolutely, but really the key, though, is to never feel embarrassed about this, because clearly you're not alone. No. Millions and millions of women are also going through this, and that's essential. You never want to stop living your life. You never want to stop being afraid to cough or sneeze or stop doing the things you love to do.
You've actually found out that you weren't the only one experiencing this, right? Because when it happens, you get to thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to let anybody know about this, right?
Absolutely. As women, we sometimes talk about very intimate details of our personal lives. And it wasn't until I read about the show, signed up, that I realized in discussing with my friends that a lot more of them were going through this, and just nobody's ever discussed it. And as I spoke with them, 12, I believe I polled 12, 11 of my friends confessed to having some form of stress or urinary incontinence.
Really?
Yes.
Really? 11 out of 12 of your friends?
Yes.
Rachel, there are different treatment options, right?
Absolutely. There are plenty of different treatment options out there, including behavioral treatments. And if you've spoken to your doctor about that, bladder training is one big thing that we do, and also pelvic floor strengthening.
The pelvic floor muscle exercises are something every woman should be doing, whether they have this or not. And they're so easy to do, so discreet, you can just sneak them into your daily lives.
No one
standing
ever
in line at the supermarket.
And the best part
watching
of it
Dr. Phil on TV.
Yes, yes. All of those things.
All
and of course, there are some quick in-office
Please don't make her laugh.
Exactly. But
new chairs.
Just as important, though, is being prepared with the right protection.
Yes.
Right? Now, Always has come out with a new line of products called Always Discreet, with liners and pads and also disposable underwear. This line also has a dual leak guard barrier, which is key.
So with there being so many options out there, as well as in-office procedures, particularly talk to your doctor about which option is going to be right for you. Because I noticed also you said that you wear more skirts now.
Yes.
Because it's much easier access when you're actually going to the bathroom. So
absolutely. It really does sound like the disposable underwear are the best option for you. Whichever you choose, you really want to look at sensitive bladder in the face and say, you know what, you're not ruling my life.
And the topic that you brought up is just opening up this whole new world for women. So you're now aware of the fact that there's other options out there.
I'm glad you came to talk about it.
Did you learn something new?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. And, you know, Barbara, you're actually going to be on the doctors, and you're going to talk about this
Yes,
topic.
I actually can't wait because there's so much more to talk about. And until then, I really encourage everyone, including you, Sydney, to go on to alwaysdiscreet.com to find out more tips and to ask more questions very discreetly, anonymously, and also to look at some of the articles that I've written about living your best life.
There was one more thing that you wanted to share, Barbara, right?
Oh, yes, this is very exciting. Now, the line of Always Discreet products are available at Dollar General. And I'm very, very pleased to tell you that everyone here in the audience is leaving today with a gift card from Dollar General for $75.
Thank all of my guests for being here today, especially my good friend Troy Dunn. Troy and his team continue to stand ready to help those searching for a long-lost loved one. You can reach Troy at troythelocator.com. Troy's book, Family, the Good F Word, is available through our own publishing company, Bird Street Books. I'd also like to thank Dr. Rachel Ross and Barbara Hannah Grufferman. Thank you guys for enlightening everybody on this, and thank you for being willing to talk about it. For more information on today's show, be sure to check out drphil.com. We'll see you next time.
Bounce, bounce, all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out. Bounce, 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 all the girlies bounce. Take 'em to my house, turn the party out.
You warned me 1,000 times, memories can kill ya, but I didn't hear ya. I thought that I could fly, but woke up on the asphalt. I swear there was the last time. I've always been naive,